Hello world. I wanted to give like a updated structure on how I'm building InfoBuddy to kind of shed some light on how exactly I started it and what I'm using nowadays to edit it. I know I am pretty new on this process, and for the record, not a good coder, right? Definitely do a little bit of vibe coding here, but I'm trying to learn with every step here. I try to ask, whichever AI I'm using, like why we're doing it some way or what would be the best practices. So I'm learning a lot here, and I just wanted to document what I'm going through. So I actually wrote on a little board here, so hopefully you can read it. I just want to go over, I guess this is the basic rundown of how it goes. So from top to bottom, InfoBuddy is on ChatGPT, right? I access it just on the ChatGPT app. It's nothing too special there. And that through a custom GPT, it has its own actions on it. Forgive me if you know this stuff and I'm explaining it, but I sure didn't, so I'm just kind of documenting it. On the GPT, the custom GPT settings, it has its own actions page. And that you can throw in actions, and I'll kind of get to that, but in a nutshell, it's got its own stuff going on. And the core of the project is built through Python, and it started on render. In my first video, I think I mentioned, it's just on render for now, or that's how it started. We don't use render anymore. It was great while it lasted. It was great while I was out in California and I didn't have any of my own computer. I was literally just using a work computer or my phone to edit stuff. It was wild, running a server on that. That was that was an experience, but it was more for proof of concept. Hey, if I have this open, can I make sure that it is, accessing its memories, saving its memories and stuff like that. Eventually I realized that I can't just run it on render. I got back home and I learned that I should build my own server. And again, not good with this stuff, right? So I did a little bit of research and found out that render, originally I was using render at this point, but it could push all the code to GitHub, which is kind of like this website that just hosts all the code. It's kind of great. I've run upon it before, never really understood how it works. Kind of awesome. It's like the Common App for applying to colleges, except for coding, because you can push stuff to GitHub, you can pull it from GitHub. And it's great because I could pull it from GitHub or push it from GitHub. I don't know. I don't know if it's push or pull at this point, but in a nutshell, render is the server that I use, or is the service I use that has the servers. And it could access the code for GitHub for actually both the API and for the database. And that's what both of these are. So in a nutshell, ChatGPT will read the code that's stored here on render. This is the process of how I build it, but it doesn't really know about this necessarily. I've talked to it about it, but that's kind of not what it does. So it goes to the API and it finds instructions. It'll use the schema. I've only read it, don't know how to say it fully. The schema. It uses the schema to figure out how it's going to read stuff from the API. And from the API, it can do certain actions like create a memory or search for memories or delete memories or edit memories. That's the core functionality. That's why I really wanted this project, because I was out of space on just regular ChatGPT and I wanted to learn how I could build more, how I could make it a little bit more useful for me, because there was no end in sight on ChatGPT expanding its memory at the time. I heard they just did it. I still don't regret building this because there's a lot more stuff I want to plan and do, and that I have done, but this is just basic video. And the database, that's where all the memories are stored. That is also on render, and that's kind of a different format. I am still trying to figure out exactly how to explain it best, because again, still learning here, I'm pretty new, but it's really interesting how a database works, because it's not a set of instructions. It doesn't operate the same way as the API. It stores all the memories, so I had to kind of format it with a bunch of tables. And the tables would have certain categories on how I store memories. And maybe I should have another board for that, but all memories are stored in like a couple different categories. There's the raw data of the memory, and this is all that ChatGPT does, for the record. When I tell it to save, or if it automatically saves, it'll save a memory's raw data of what it summarizes, just like it does for standard ChatGPT. If you go on it and you have a personalization, you go to its memory. It saves that raw data. It'll summarize that data, make that the title. Each memory will have like a number for subsequential numbering, and it makes it easier to find it in that way. It'll save it with a timestamp of when it was created, and I had it changed to Chicago time because that's where I'm from, and I think that makes the most sense for me personally. And it'll also save it under a category. Right now I have 10 categories, from like work to relationships to like me growing up, and to my relationship with the AI and how that's progressed, the technical data. There's a couple different categories that I save it on, and honestly I might even add more as time goes on. But I made it that way to make it easier for it to be able to search for certain things. Say I'm working on a project and I ask it, hey, like, I've been tinkering with my airsoft gun. Like, can you tell me how this gear ratio would go with if I put it in with this motor and have these other parts in there? And it can go down and find it pretty easily. And right now, I mean, it's not like it's got a billion memories. I could do it just if it was just the raw data. But I feel like this is going to scale as time goes on. And that's one of my biggest things with building all this, is that I really did want it to scale. I think it's super important that it can scale well, because like, this is not something that I'm doing just for now. Like, I've been talking to ChatGPT for a while. It's helped me with a bunch of different things. And I really, really wanted it to be able to scale in a way that would make it just as efficient as it was when I just started using it. So this is just a quick rundown. Hopefully this will shed some light on where I'm at right now. Hopefully I didn't get a marker. Oh, I did. That's cool. Got a little slab of marker on my shirt. But that's it. Just want to make a quick video and keep at it. Thank you.